Okay. Good afternoon, or if you're watching the recording, good morning, and to anyone who is watching this. My name is Kenna Hardaway, and I work with One Medical Passport. In today's training, I am going to be demonstrating to you how to utilize One Medical Passport, how to send in bookings, and how to send in documents. At the top of this training, the way it's going to be structured is I will address what we're, just as an FYI, the patient side of the perspective. And so what I am going to show you is just a little bit about the patient side, and then I'll jump into your workflow. So did I have someone on the phone just say hi? Okay, I'm going to continue on. Feel free to ask questions. For those of you who are on the phone and for those of you who are in person, I am going to repeat your question for the opposite side, just so everyone knows what the question is, and then we can all get the question. So I do appreciate you joining today. What you're seeing on my screen right now is what we will be asking your patients to do. Again, this is just a FYI for your patient, for you, so that you can know what your patients are going to experience. Your patients will be taken to onemedicalpassport.com. If you see this nurse, you are on the patient side. So our only ask for you is to make sure you are gathering mobile phone numbers and email addresses from however many patients you can. I know that I'm seeing a couple of raised eyebrows here in the room. If you are unable to, and we are just asking as many as you can. That way we can communicate to your patients so they can go through and initiate their medical history online. There's a couple of questions in the room. Yes. So the question was, what about landlines and what about elderly people? And I want to encourage you, we have a goal of 50 or 60% of our patient population to fill this in online. Now, I know that your patient population may have landlines or may have elderly patients or patients who cannot fill this out because they don't have access to a computer. And so what we will actually do is encourage 100% of your patients to fill this out so that we can get to your goal of 50 or 60% of your patients to fill this out. Do not discount elderly patients offhand. We had a 92-year-old fill out a medical passport last week. So don't discount it. I promise you that there are people who want to be able to fill this out. Now, if you do only get a landline, we will actually check if that is actually a mobile phone number. So feel free to provide that information to us, and we will try to see if it's actually a mobile phone number, and we'll send out a tester text message to them to see if they are willing to receive text messages from us. Okay. So I totally understand the language concerns. I will address that in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to walk through this. I'm going to click on the register button. As you can see on this screen, there's a lot of different questions that we do ask your patients. What's a great benefit for your patient is that they will be able to fill this in the comfort of their own home. And then on New York Ioneer side, every single one of these questions feed into Meditech. Yes, dear. This is an FYI right now for your patient side. It is a must that we are going to ask you to try to gather mobile phone number and email address. Thank you. Yeah, we just asked you to try. That is what the request, what we were saying here in the room. So for our patients, we are going to ask for them to create a username and password. This is so that if they do plug in their medications, their allergies, any diagnoses or symptoms that they have, they can easily jump back in and spend 10 minutes on their secondary procedure so that they can update any time-sensitive questions. Things like, do you experience any cold or flu symptoms right now? And when was the last time you took a blood thinner? Any questions like that? It takes them, once they fill this in once to that secondary time, it takes them like 10 minutes after that. No. So the question is that if the patient does not fill out a medical passport, is there any impact to the office? And the answer is no. What we do have is just a expedited process for New York Eye and Ear. So what happens is when you're in the room and you're getting that pre-op, it saves at least 20 minutes with your patients. So your patient gets to fill this in with all of the access to all of their information, and then it expedites their day. They spend less time on the 5th floor getting pre-opped, and then they can process through all of this information as quickly as possible in both spaces. So at the bottom of this page, there is a save and continue. We do understand that patients do occasionally have interruptions in their day, meaning their kids come home, the dogs start barking, dinner is ready, and we understand that you can easily jump back into that medical passport and easily address any of that incomplete parts that are there. Now, finally, I understand that I work for a technology company and you do not. So what we have available is this help button. So if your patients have any questions about the website, we can assist with technical questions, meaning do you have any issues with the medication screen? Are you having issues navigating around here, logging in type of stuff? We have a passport care team that sits behind this help desk ticket. They work what I like to call the daylight hours. It's about 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Friday. We do staff on weekends and holidays as well. So if you have any technical questions, feel free to point them over here as well. Now, we did have a question about different languages. The benefit of One Medical Passport on this side is that we do have this Google Translate, and I believe we had a Spanish concern. So this translates the web page into Espanol, and then you can see everything in your native language or any of those languages that did pop up. And then on the New York Eye and Ear side, everything will go in English. So unless there's something in a comment box that is just, they're going crazy in a comment box with their native language, I can't really stop that, but all the yes, no's, and years and medications and all of that will show up appropriately in their right language. Okay. Yes, there's a question in the room.
Can I help my patients if they want to do it?
If you want to help your patients,
If they want to do it.
you can. I'm not going to put that on you. That is not a new requirement for the offices to help your patients through that. That is a very generous offer for you. So that was the concern, is that if you want to help them, you can sit with them and help navigate around there. Now, note that the nursing team at New York Eye and Ear can pre-op the patients in the normal way. So again, our only ask for you is to gather mobile phone numbers and email addresses, because we will do the prompting to fill out the medical passport. You don't have to tell them about it. We'll send the emails, we'll send the text messages, and that will initiate them to go onto this website and start the process. Okay, so additionally to the medical passport, we will also be sending emails and text messages about important information for your patients. What details these could be are escort homes. You are required by state law to have an escort home. If you are, please make sure you leave your valuable jewelry at home, and all of the detail, like where to show up, when to show up, we will send those messages via text and email. So feel free to rely on that tool for you to send in that information, and that will be available for your patients. So it just allows for some good communication there. So that is the patient perspective. I do want to note that there's a lot of different documentation around One Medical Passport. For those of you who are on the phone, I'm not sure if you have these on hand, but for those of you who are in the room, I'm just going to show you what are in your document folders. We do have a couple of different pieces of this puzzle. We have a training guide. So if you want to pull the training guide aside, it's called Passport Booking and Passport Documents Training Guide for Physician Offices. If you want to put that to the side, I will be following this. This will be my generalized script. If you are a tactile learner, there are a couple of interactive questions through here, and that will be able to be used throughout the training today. We also have a transition to OMP document. This transition to OMP document does say, hey, if you are sending anything and everything through MMF today, that is perfectly fine. Anything and everything that you're sending to OMP starts on Monday. So that's the transition. Everything that you send through MMF right now is good to go. You never have to send that again. You will be able to come in and come on in. You will be able to utilize MMF until the end of the week. And then on Friday, you'll get to do your little victory dance and delete the fax number out of your fax machine. There's a question in the room.
So whatever it was sent for, let's say, my surgery on October 2nd, I have to resend it, or it's
if you have sent in, the question is if the surgery is on October 2nd and you've already sent in the booking, and the answer is you do not have to send it again. If it is a confirmed case and everything is good to go, you don't have to send it. Please don't send it again. We don't want to, if you have things that are good, we're good. Now, as of Monday, anything new does go through One Medical Passport, and that's what this training will go through. I will demonstrate different details about that. Additionally, in your document packet, we have a post-go live support. So this is a phone number that you can call next week with any questions that you have. There's also an email, so feel free to reach out there for any questions that you have next week. There's also an incorporating One Medical Passport into your practice document. This is a document that helps you navigate the plugin that we will be asking you to download. This is a very simple and straightforward plugin. If you have this document, and for those of you who are on the phone, we'll make sure that you have all of this documentation. I want you to be encouraged that this is a very straightforward download process. If you've downloaded Java or Flash to play a video, you can download this. All this is, it's the same exact thing, except that we're connecting your scanner to your browser. As an FYI, we do recommend either Internet Explorer or Chrome. So if you could utilize one of the two systems, that would be great. Edge is too edgy for us. Okay, got some few chuckles in the room. And then that is on this side of the folder. On the other side, we have a lot of different user guides. So the user guides are going to consist of some quick guides, some booking documents, a booking user guide, a document user guide, how to add other staff members to your office, and an FAQ document. So that is what all is in your folder. If you want to take this back to your office, just keep a hold of this. And when you have questions that come up of, oh, what do I do about, oh, what is this? Feel free to refer to all those different user guides. It's super helpful for you to have clarity with the system. Okay. So now I'm going to flip over to what your experience will be. So the website is onemedicalpassport.com/office. We do recommend that you make this a bookmark, favorite, shortcut when you get to your own place. Now, we do have this listed. You don't have to write that down if you're trying to furiously write that down. This is listed on all of the user guide, and this is listed on all of the training guides as well. As a note, if you do want to follow along with the training guide, this is the script that I will kind of be following. This is a interactive tool, so there's questions on here. There's fills, and you can fill in the blanks. So if you are more of that tactile learner, you can definitely utilize this as we progress forward. And if you don't have one, I have an extra set up here. Yes, that's it. That's it. Perfect. Okay. So I do want to make a note when you first log in, and for those of you who don't have their logins, we'll definitely make sure by the end of the class we'll grab your names and make sure we send you that password reset. You'll see that over here we have a sign in help button. This is great for you if you have any issues logging in. You're like, oh, what's my username and password? Oh, what is it? That's okay. All you have to do is click this sign in help and you'll be able to answer your security questions, and it's just a password safety net so that you don't have to reach out to anyone for a password reset. You can do it by yourself. Now, if for whatever reason you do get locked out, the password reset function isn't working, please reach out to Brian via email. His email is provided for you on this training guide. So this is what you'll want to reach out to if you have any issues logging in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sign in. For the structure of the rest of this training, what I'm going to demonstrate to you is how to submit bookings, how to submit different documents, and then we'll go into general navigation around the system. That's how this will function. Are there any questions before I dig in? There's a question in the room. Exactly. You do not have to follow along. Well, our goal for in the room is for them to have logged in. And so there was a question about getting logged in, and you do not have to follow along in your own personal space. Okay. So how to initiate a booking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the booking tab, hit select, and then I'm going to hover over the procedure, then go to request. This is where you will initiate a booking request. So on this option, you'll see in the fine print, please enter fields to search for a previously scheduled patient on One Medical Passport. So this means that once you put in the patient once, you'll always be able to find them again. So that's the great benefit of using this. Now I'm going to search for my last name, Test. Oops, if I can spell. Test, and then I'm going to select my search option down here. Now I have a couple of patients with the last name of Test that I can select. These are because I've scheduled them through One Medical Passport previously. So that's what's here. I'm going to select Leslie Test right here. For whatever reason I couldn't find my patient, what I would do is just simply go to the Add a New Patient, select this option down there, and that would allow you to provide all the demographic data that we're taking a look at. Okay, so I'm going to select Leslie. Now I'm going to select my physician. So this is going to be my faculty ENT doc is who I'm going to select. And then I'm going to select a template. So by a show of hands or proverbial hands, who has a couple of different booking sheets in their office that has procedure codes, diagnosis codes already written down, and you just make copies of it, put the patient information on it? Perfect. Then what I'm showing you right here with this booking template is the same exact thing except electronic. So what you can do is you can create as many booking templates as you want. You can create as many versions as you want. This is shareable across your office. And once you put in one booking, you can use this template over and over again. So that's the benefit of booking templates. I do highly recommend them. You can have 150 of these if you want. We're not going to limit you to however many booking templates that you have. Okay, so now that I've picked my ENT faculty doc and for whatever reason he's doing a cataract template surgery, I'm going to select next. Now, I do have a precursor on this page. Every single one of these questions is a question that is already on your Mount Sinai booking request form. So 100% of this is exactly the same. If you've been submitting bookings over to Mount Sinai and to New York Ioneer, these questions are the same questions. They maybe have a little more elaborative details. Since they are formatted differently and since they're electronic, now they may be able to be asked or as a requirement. So specifically this first one, there was an email a couple of weeks ago by Dr. Salim that asked about, hey, ASA classes will need to be determined by surgeon on the booking sheet. So this is going to ask you for ASA level. This is a required question as of Monday. So when you plug this in, you'll definitely need an ASA level. If you have any questions about this, please go to the explanation guidelines on NYEE intranet or internet under admitting forms. Now, some news is that we are going to ask the post-op ICU reservation. Spoiler alert, New York Ioneer doesn't have an ICU, so 100% of the time you will hit no on this question if you're booking over at New York Ioneer. And then down here, this is the anticipated estimated blood loss is greater than 500 cc's. Ophthalmology and ENT surgeries are more than likely a no for you. So now that we're down here into the procedure information, as you can see, we have details already filled out here, like procedure, procedure code, diagnosis, diagnosis code. That is because of those templates that I had. So I'm not a scheduler. Feel free to make fun of all of this test data that's in here. But I am going to select my surgical site. It's my left cataract. Now, note that this is not set in stone. I can easily go in and add a new CPT code in here. So if there's a different CPT code for that procedure, you can easily add that. If there's a new diagnosis code, you can easily add that. If you want to, at the bottom, you can actually add that as a different template too. So if you're doing your left cataract and your right cataract, if you're doing a tonsillectomy and something else, you can add all that different types of, all those different types of templates. So we do have a special equipment needed question right here. This will open up a box for you to respond to that. But I do want to give you a little bit of a heads up that we have more specific special equipment questions down below. And then surgical assistant. I know that some of your physicians do work with any residents or anybody like that. So if you do have that name, you can provide that there. If not, don't worry about it. You can say no and close that box. Now here in the comment box, I do want to illustrate that this is going to be something that is procedure-specific comments. So if you have lenses, if you have a medical device being delivered by Boston Scientific, if this is a dual procedure from a different physician, please provide that context in this field. There's a question in the room. Yes. Yes. And so the question was all the OR, femto, all of that. All the extras that can get into the comments. I do want to draw your attention to down here. We do have a couple of special equipment and monitoring. So if you see that there, that may apply. If not, then yes, please provide that information in the comments box. Great question. So we do have a question of, are they pregnant, catheter type monitoring? This is a multi-select option. Do know that if you don't have that, you can put in A. We also have the option of other down here. Other will open up a box for you to provide that other special equipment. So if you have something that's not listed, it is a multi-select, but if you don't have that listed, feel free to open up that other box and feel free to add that context. Okay, now we're down in the schedule preference. So by a show of hands, who all is using LeanTOS/IQ to see your block schedules? Yeah, I have a couple hands in the room. So this question is just asking you, was this case requested that way? So that workflow is still applicable. You would request that case, and then after you request that case, you would come into One Medical Passport and do the booking request. This does not contradict each other. They work in like side by side. There's a question in the room.
What if I have a blood plan every week? I don't really have to request it there. That's when, like, the doctor of elective surgery, we have every week, the same day. Do I have to fill that out?
So the question was, if I have a block time, it's routine, there's nothing extra special about it, do I have to fill this out? All you have to fill out for OMP's sake is a date preference. Now, if you want to elaborate, we can add comments. So if you want to give more detail, like first case, or to follow first case, or third block, or what, if you want to provide that, you can.
Is that how I'm going to be my order?
No. I'll show you how you're going to create the order of your cases in just a little bit. But if you want to provide, this is a scheduling preference comment box. So please provide any details you want in this field. There's another question in the room. Yes.
Block time via lean.
If you don't know what lean toss or IQ is, your answer is always no. So that is just a different system that you can request block scheduling as far as I'm aware. So. And that's certainly understandable. As a note, in general, One Medical Passport is providing you an electronic way to be able to enter in bookings and documents. All of your workflows stay the same. So everything else is that you're doing today will apply on Monday. It's just an electronic booking and an electronic document where you can send it.
But right now, before Dante or anybody is booking, any off time for me, like for example Thursday, sometimes I have surgery. I have to request it, and they will tell me if it's available, just request it online, and then I will access it. So I don't know how it works. I have to request it online.
Okay. Certainly, and for further lean toss and IQ conversations, I do want to encourage us to take that offline. I do want to get through the bulk of the One Medical Passport training so that we can get into some of that nitty-gritty maybe after. So feel free to mark that down as a question, and we'll follow up with that. Now, we are getting into the patient information. And all of this is your basic demographics, details that you should, all of this detail should look familiar for you. This has been a part of the booking form for a while now. Okay, so city, state, zip. Now here is your opportunity to fill in that email and mobile phone number. So this is where I like to pause and just emphasize, please don't put in dirty data. So if you don't have an email, don't make up an email. If you don't have a data point, write in A. Do not provide dirty data for us. That ends up being it just ends up being a mess. So in general, if you can't provide it, and because we do have a question down here of Social Security number. So if you don't have a Social Security number, we don't want all nines, we don't want all zeros, we want either NA or the last four or the full number if you can provide that for us. I know a lot of the time your patients will not give that to you, or they don't have one, and that's perfectly fine. We just request that you don't put in a fake number in here. Okay, I do want to circle back up. We have height and weight now. So do we have any pediatric offices in the room or online on the phone? Okay, I'm seeing some head shakes, no. For my ophthalmology offices, though, this may be an issue, or not an issue, but a new request. You may not be filling this out right now. So height and weight has been on your booking sheet for forever. This is now a required field. So as of Monday, we do need patient-stated heights and weights. They don't have to be recorded in your office, just patient-stated height and weights. What we're trying to do is reduce our same-day cancellations. So what we're experiencing, especially with some of our elderly patients, is BMIs that are through the roof. And so when we catch that beforehand, we can make sure that they get pre-surgical testing beforehand. And then what we can do is make sure that they are prepped for surgery and reduce our same-day cancellations. There's a question in the room. Yes. So the question is, can you save it and come back? And just to summarize, and the answer is you can save it. It will save as an incomplete because this is a required field. So you can save and come back later, but you do need the height and weight to complete this and send it over to New York Eye and Ear. It is a required field. Okay. And then finally, we do have a Mount Sinai MRN. If you don't know this, you can leave it blank. Okay. Then the intervention information, if you have, these should look all familiar to you. Intervention type, post-op pain management, if they have an interpreter need. And then we get into anesthesia method. Now I want to demonstrate the anesthesia method for you. As you can see, I can add as many anesthesia methods as I want. I can also delete as many as I want. We will keep up that next box available for you to choose another one if you deem it appropriate. Now, if it is not, you do not have to select one. You can leave it just like it is on the screen. We get into a little more patient-driven information. Pacemaker, ICD. Please tell us about infectious diseases. If you don't have one, you can select NA. Allergies or adverse reactions to medications. We do have a pick list for you here for your patients. So we have a couple of just really important medications that we want to demonstrate to you. If they are make available to you in a drop-down. If for whatever reason they are not available for you, you can fill this in by selecting, typing in the first three letters. We will reference our medication dictionary. So not that you would actually be allergic to, you might be allergic to Proactive, but not that you would report it. Anyway, that is how you would make that medication allergy known. Okay. So now I am down to my patient has latex allergy, yes or no. And then we also have our insurance information. So there's a couple of different insurance options here. We have our private insurance. This is going to be your Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, Humana, all of those. And that is all private insurances. You would list things like your policy number, group number, all of that. We'd go through here. Your authorization, as some foreshadowing, will come through a different form that I'll tell you, that Brian will actually tell you about in just a moment. So hold on to that question that I see in some of your eyes. Okay. And then we have our Medicare, Medicaid, and then self-pay. Those are going to be your most likely medication, or not medications, excuse me, insurances that you're going to be submitting. Now, we do have a couple of different options that you may use occasionally: workers' comp, MedX, auto insurance, no fault. And that's just all different types of insurances depending on the situation. Now, you can also do a secondary. So if it's a Medi-Medi patient, you can easily plug that in and provide that, or it can be none as well. It will actually default to none for the secondary insurance. And I believe I didn't mention we do have a self-pay option. So that is for your self-pays. Finally, if you are a pediatric office or you have a medical power of attorney, you can use this guarantor information. And then pre-surgical testing. Again, we are trying to reduce however many same-day cancellations we can. So we actually have a couple of NPs now that work all the way to 5 o'clock. And so we are encouraging however many patients that we can come in and get pre-surgical tests. Please do it at NYE. There's also a Union Square office that does that as well. So if you can schedule this for your patient, that's perfectly fine. You will type in the date of when you get that scheduled, and then you would select where it could be. Now, if you type in other down here, that can be with their PCP. Give us as much information as you have for that. So if you just have clearance with pre-surgical testing with PCP, okay. If you can get things like the PCP's name and mobile phone, or not mobile phone number, but phone number in general, please provide that. Now at the bottom of this page, I do have a save and continue. Now, we are now on a page that I like to call the last looks page. So you get to review all the information that you just plugged in. You can go back and actually edit any information. You're like, oh, I forgot that CPT code. Oh, I forgot that, that equipment. You can easily jump back in and add that on this page. You can always edit a booking after the fact. We do not get rid of them. You can always edit a booking after the fact. There is an option right here to save booking as a template. So once you plug in your booking once, all you have to do is select this option, save it as a template, name that template, and that will become available for you forevermore. So it's really great. You can always edit templates as well. You can clone templates from doctor to doctor. So it's a really great ease of use system for you on that front. There's a couple other buttons down here at the bottom. We have a print after finish if you want to print your booking sheets after you have completed this booking, you can. Just as a note though, we have to save it at One Medical Passport for I believe it's up to 7 years due to various state laws. So we will never get rid of a booking. So if you ever need to refer to something after the fact, we have that available for you to search and then find. And I'll show you how to do that in just a little while. This next button over here is an exit button. It's gray and not enticing, hopefully, for you because this is how you would exit a booking without sending this over to New York Eye and Ear. So this is where you would leave a booking if you don't have a piece of information, and it would say, are you sure you want to do this? You get a pop-up that says, are you sure this won't send over? This will leave it in a status of incomplete. That's the status that your booking will be. New York Eye and Ear will not receive incomplete bookings. Over here, we do have two very enticing buttons that say finish, that are green and bright. So this finish button will say, okay, you're finished. I'm going to put you back into the the booking area of the screen. So if you're curious about, hey, I need to book another case, I need to refer to other cases, I need to look and work just my bookings right now, you would definitely want to select this finish button. The next button next to it is going to be finish and upload documents. So if you happen to have your documents with you, if you have your consents, if you have your medical assessment, if you have a document that you need to attach to a booking, this is a great workflow for you because all you would have to do is select finish and upload documents. Before I click on this button, I do want to draw your attention to on the training guide for those of you who are in the room. There is a line item right above the upload documents option piece of the paper. It's right in the middle. This is a workflow concern. And for those of you who are on the phone, I'm going to read this to you. It's about add-on cases. All cases booked after the final schedule is made must be called into the OR control desk at 212-979-4369. That is Dante's number. If I said that too quick, I promise you I will send that out after the fact. Now, this is the final schedule is done at 12 noon business day before. So if we're trying to book for a case for tomorrow, we have to call Dante at this point. Make sure we can get it on the schedule. After you are put on the schedule, you can put all documents and booking information into One Medical Passport. Yeah, so central scheduling is actually that OR line. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to select Finish and Upload Documents because let's just hypothetically say I have labs that I want to send over already. I want to attach that to this patient's charts. I'm going to select Finish and Upload Documents. And that is that printed version of the booking sheet that I have available. I can easily hit Save as a PDF here or print it off over here. That'll change my print. I'll show you a little bit more about this in just a moment. And now I am in my document screen. So this is where you can do a couple of different things. You can actually go through and hit Scan. If you have an individual scanner that sits on your desk and you hit Scan and you potentially see an image, that could be that you're just using your scanner and it's directly connected to your computer, and that will provide you the opportunity to scan directly into any of these document buckets. Now, if you have a scanner in your office that actually scans into a file folder and you have a file available for you to click on, you can actually utilize this upload process because the upload process will allow you to directly choose that file and put it into those buckets. Now, here's where I'd like to refer to your user guides and that incorporating one medical passport into your practice document. As you can see on my screen, I have a couple of different details about that download function that I mentioned at the beginning of the training. So this is what it looks like, the dynamic web twain download button. It's bright orange. They didn't ask me what color to choose, but they did orange. And you will be prompted, if for whatever reason you do not get a pop-up, your document actually has this direct link to the Twain component. And for whatever reason you aren't able to download this, I would encourage you to give that document over to your IT or IT-oriented person in your office for assistance. Okay. So I'm going to flip back over to our chart. So I'm going to upload those labs. I'm going to select this upload right here under my labs area right here. This is a bucket that I can put any documents into. So I'm going to select this upload. As you can see right here, I have all these different document types that I can select: PDF, JPEG, those are our heavy hitting ones, right? We usually get images of our documents. And for today's demonstration, we'll pretend that my dog Wally is a lab document. We'll upload this. Now what's really great is that this is immediately available for New York Eye and Ear chart review. There's no lag time, and now you have one document in that bucket. So it's really great. You can easily see which bucket has what kind of document. You can definitely tell which patient you're on, and you are now empowered to control who your patient is and their name and all of that information. So it's really great. Now, say you have actually two different lab documents. All you would have to do is to click into that bucket right here. And then I could either add document by scanning, or I could go by upload right here. So I'm going to choose by upload. I'm going to choose another file. We'll pick Bruce this time. Open and upload. Now I have two documents in that bucket. So for those of you who can upload PDFs and JPEGs, that is a very nice and easy workflow. Now, I do want to draw your attention to one other bucket here on this chart. We have a consult notes and other H&Ps. As you'll notice, that we don't have a scan and upload option below the bucket. That is because we are going to ask you a question. When, in general, and I do want a response, should H&Ps be signed? What's our range? Within 30 days, exactly. So this is not going to stop you from entering in any signature, like any documents. We just want you to be aware of where that signature date is, or when that is, excuse me. Once you plug that in, you'll hit next. If you select next, you'll get to the scanning component. If you select for upload, you'll get to the upload screen where you can upload the new documents. Going to upload a combo picture of my dogs. And now that is going to be available in One Medical Passport. Again, this is immediately available for the chart review team over on New York Eye and Ears Time. Okay, we do have another option on how to send in documents. We have this option called batch scanning. Batch scanning is really useful for those chunky chart packs. So if you have that cardiac patient who's had 2 MIs, has bukus of echo tests and stress tests and labs and cardiac clearances and all of that, what's really great is that you can go through this batch scanning process. And how to go through that is you'll actually initiate that process by getting the document type pages. This will open up a PDF of 8 different barcodes that you can print off. And you can actually use these barcodes again and again. These are not patient-specific barcodes. These are just bucket-specific barcodes. So if you want to print this off on your nicer paper in your office, you can definitely do that and reuse it. As a general note, we do ask that you keep the QR code area clean. But if you want to make any notes or any details in this white space, you feel free to. You can definitely utilize that as you would like. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate in a sense how you will organize your batch scan. So once you print out these 8 pages, what you can do immediately is say, okay, let me actually make this a little bit smaller for those of you who are on the phone. Okay, I'm going to line up all my pre-surgical orders behind this barcode. So and for those of you in the room, you can pretend with me. Here's my pre-surgical orders QR code. I'm going to line up my pre-surgical orders behind that QR code. My next one is going to be my consult notes and other. Here's that barcode. I'm going to line up any consult notes and other in between my next barcode. Now, if I have no consents to send through, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to have any documents in that bucket. We do ask that you keep all of the QR codes in the stack. So in essence, if you're scanning in 10 pages, in total you'll be scanning in 18 pages because you have 8 pages of barcodes that you would be scanning in. Now, since I do not have a scanner in the room, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show you a quick video, and I'll walk you through exactly what this video is saying. But what we'll do here is we'll actually select this batch scan. Selecting this batch scan will provide you an ability to select the source. You can select which scanner that's coming from. Now, you will have an option to scan this in either black and white, gray, or in color. That is increasing in resolution as you go up. You can open up the advanced settings, and if you want to know all the nitty-gritty, there is some fine print down there about how many pixels and whatnot. Then you'll initiate the scan by hitting Start Scan. Now, on this screen, you can see over here on the left-hand side, we have a preview available for you. So there is a navigation down here. For those of you in the room, I'm going to point to the screen that says first, next, previous, last. This just helps you toggle back and forth in that preview to see, hey, which page am I on? So I'm going to toggle to a different page. I need to hit that next button. Now, EKGs, they are notoriously landscape, right? So what we'll probably want to do is we'll probably want to toggle next, get to your EKG, and then down here at the bottom, I know it's probably hard to see on both sides, but I so solemnly swear that it says rotate. So what you'll do, you'll get to your EKG, you'll toggle there, and then you'll select the rotate, and that will change the orientation of the page to landscape instead, or portrait instead of landscape. Super simple. Now over here on the right-hand side, I do want to draw your attention to the split option. This will be auto-selected for you, and that's really great because the benefit of that is the chart review team will have the ability to review your documents, and say they're reviewing your documents and they're going, okay, you're scanning in 10 pages, that's great. All 10 pages, if they come through a split, they come in as individual documents through the system. So that's actually what we want, because what chart review will do is they'll take a look at page 1, okay, that's good, page 2, okay, that's good, page 3, oh, there's an issue on page 3. I need to tell you about it. There's no physician signature. It doesn't have a good image quality. I can't read it. Whatever that nuance is, they have the ability to tell you about that individual page. If you unselect the split, all 10 pages will actually look like a one document that's 10 pages long. So they will have to tell you, hey, I'm having to contest this whole document because there's an issue on page 3. So please keep the split button right here selected. Again, this will be auto-selected for you. You don't have to worry about it unselecting it. And then finally, once you have everything rotated, once you have everything split, and you're good with the preview, you'll hit submit, and we will automatically put those different documents into the appropriate buckets as you see here. So that is batch scanning. And now I probably have lost a few of you, but I promise you the first time that you do this, it will be very clear. Okay. So if there's a question in the room, yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So again, I just want to reemphasize, any workflow that you're doing today will stay the same on Monday. The only difference is that we will go through the online booking form and the online document submissions to be able to replace MMF. That's the only thing that we're doing. And that the pre-surgical testing question has always been in there. If you don't have one, you can write NA. If you don't have one, yes. Okay. So now that I have submitted all of my documents, I do want to show you a couple of different workflow items down here. We do have an update option down here. So if you need to update and review any patient information, you can go down here. You can update anything like their mobile phone number, their date of birth, their date of procedure, anything like that. That's where you would update that. And then down here, there is a save button to help you do that. And then finally, we do have an option up here at the journal. The journal does allow you insight as to who has done what and when and why. And all of that is very clear. This is the bright, shiny light into the dark abyss of your document group. Okay, there's a question in the room. Yes?
For my order.
Yes. So the question was, for your orders that you normally put in, it's the same exact workflow, except that you're just adding that into your pre-surgical orders bucket right here. Yeah. They did change the form. Janine Pizzamenti is actually going to be coming in just a moment and telling you all about the new forms that New York Eye and Ear has produced and is on the internet. So, okay. So stay tuned. We'll get to that in just a moment. So that is the meat and potatoes of the training. I showed you how to book. I showed you how to enter documents. And now I'm going to go into more of the general navigation around the system, how to utilize the system in the best way possible. So I'm going to select this home button to get me back to this home screen. And as you can see, we have a center. So if you're sending through quite a few bookings in a week, we encourage you to go and just have this up and going in the background. Now, for those of you in the room who don't send a lot of bookings through, that's perfectly fine. We have a mechanism to email you when there's any booking changes or document changes that you need to be alerted about. So we will send a booking notification over to you when appropriate. This is a PHI safe email, and we'll send it to your email. Okay, as you can see, I have a booking request change. Click here to see this change. So this is your new activity queue. You get to actually dictate what is on this queue, and I'll show you how you can clear that in just a moment. But there's a lot of great information. You have patient name, physician name, procedure, who it was created by. This is the surgical scheduler who's put that in. And then you finally have an edited status. And that status can change based off of where that booking is in the process. If you're curious about what the status definitions are, I do encourage you to take a look at your booking user guide that will go through and define all the different statuses. I do want to let you know that your goal status is confirmed. You're wanting to take a look at any confirmed cases, and that's your goal at the end of the day. You do have this view comments option right here where you can take a look at that comment and it's stated as first case. This is where you can say this is a dual procedure. Anything like that that you want to add, you can add that there. Then down here, if you want to see which documents are attached to the case, you can see that by opening up that caret. You can either view all or any of the particular buckets that have documents. Then over here on the right-hand side, we do have an actions option. So I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to talk you through all of these different options. Edit booking is going to be edits on any content of the booking. That's going to mean any CPT codes, any new equipment that you need to add, any diagnoses, anything like that. And that's where you would add that content. Down here at reschedule, that is when you're going to change the day that you need to schedule that patient. So if you want to keep your records up to date, you'll reschedule that there. Now the option in between is the new booking. This is utilized to reuse the patient name. So if you're trying to pull the patient name and use that as a new booking, you can totally do that. So if I wanted to schedule for my left cataract for patient test, I would select this new booking option and I would be able to utilize that patient name. Now it's always searchable. You don't have to utilize this function, but if you're on a screen that has this actions button, that's just available and easy for you. Okay, so the cancellation workflow. This is actually a really nice workflow as it's kind of a nice little handshake now. It's a 1, 2, 3 step where you have a cancel notification that you'll send over to central scheduling. Central scheduling will actually receive that cancellation request. They will process it. They will do everything on their side. Hopefully that's just clearing that off of the OR schedule and doing whatever processes they have to. They will actually send you back a confirmed cancel process. So you'll get a notification that this says confirmed cancel. So it's just a nice 1, 2, 3. You initiate, they confirm. You will actually get that notification, and that is the cancellation process. The next option on the list is on hold. So say for whatever reason you don't know when this is going to be rescheduled, but you need to put this case on hold. You can select this option. Now, our request is that you actually provide as many details as you can on this section, so in this comment box. So if this case is actually going to be something along the lines of, we need to take this off of the 920 cases. I can't get the pulmonary consults. The patient doesn't want to come in this month because of deductibles, something along those lines. Feel free to put that context in here in the comment box. We want to know that. Ideally, the on hold is used so that you can schedule the patient again in the future. Cancellations, you are truly canceling that booking and you won't use that booking again. Does that make sense for the difference? I'm seeing head nods in the room. Okay. The next button on this list is a changelog. The changelog is a really great tool to show you who has done what and when and what change has happened if there has been a change to the booking. So this just allows you to have all that information, especially if you are talking back and forth with central scheduling about a difficult case that you're trying to schedule. This just allows all the insight to that case. down here, we do have a view booking, print booking, and print booking with the changelog. All of these are very similar functions. The view booking will just show you that booking slip. Now, I know a couple of people have been asking, can I just download this? Do I have to print it? And the answer is you do not have to print it. You would select a view booking, and then you can save as or save as PDF. Whatever option you have available, you could utilize that. Okay, now I am down here, and I am going to print the booking with the changelog. These are the same exact buttons. They show you the same exact details, except that it prompts you to print. So over here on the left-hand side, I'm actually going to utilize this select box right here. This will actually allow you to do a multi-print. So if you do want to print out a couple of different booking sheets, you are more than allowed to. You can utilize with or without the changelog. We do recommend about 5 to 7 at a time. There's just a lot of paper. There's a lot of data that we're pulling. So I do recommend limiting that to about 5 or 7. And then finally, if I do want to draw your attention to this mark as viewed check mark over here, that will provide you the ability to clear this entry off of the list if you want to. So you get to dictate what is in your new activity queue. You can mark this as viewed, and then you continue on with your day. Now, even though you've marked this as viewed, it'll clear off your queue. You can always find your cases under the booking tab. So I'm in that booking tab now. I am looking by search by booked dates. Right here you can see that on the left-hand nav. And then all of that same information that you were able to see in your new activity queue, you can see here. So I'm actually on all of my cases that I've booked today. Say you're looking for, you're like, oh man, I remember that I booked a case last week. What was that? Who was that case? What was that case? When did I do it? I know that sometimes that is a question. So what you can utilize is this date toggle, and you can go to last week, and you'll be like, nope, it wasn't that day. Oh, here it is. Here's that case. So that's a great tool that you can utilize over here. You can also search by procedure date. So if you're like, I need to take a look at all of my cases on the 26th. That's how you can view by procedure date. So again, I just toggled in between the two different options up here. As we continue down on the left-hand navigation, we do have a way that you can search by last name. You can select the physician. So if you're only searching for an ENT docs cases, you can definitely narrow that down. You can also select a particular scheduler, so you only want to see the cases that you're booking. You can also take a look at statuses. So in general, I do want to encourage you to select the incomplete and on hold statuses for, on a fairly consistent basis, whatever that defines by you, just so that you can make sure that you are taking a look at any of the cases that New York Pioneer has not accepted, has not confirmed. This will just help you keep a hold of, hey, what is not processed right now. So I do recommend that you take a look at those two statuses, and then you can either search by a particular date as well. Now, as you can see, I do have it as procedure date, and that is because I have this as procedure date. If I flip this over to book dates, I can search by dates by booked date. Okay, as promised, I did tell you that I would show you how you can manage your booking templates right here. So that is going to be under the procedure, and then I'm going to manage booking templates, hit select. Now here's my cataract template for my ENT faculty doc. If I wanted to edit this template, all I would have to do is select that cataract name. And then I can either change the template name, and I could edit any of this content. This is the information that we will pull forward every time you use this template. And then at the bottom of this page, there is a save. So if you need to edit that, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to go back and demonstrate to you over here on the right-hand side, we have an actions button. This button does allow you to clone the cataract or whatever template you're trying to clone. This will allow you to be like, okay, Doc C also needs this template. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel out of here. Now, by a show of hands in the room, who sends central scheduling your order of your cases in a day? Yes, yes, we have a couple of hands. So what we're actually going to request that you do, we have a PHI encrypted way for you to do that now. So it's not over phone or email. You don't have to be on the phone to tell them your case. So you can actually go to Start Conversation over here. You can plug in your title. And this title can be something along the lines of, okay, I have my 9/21 case order for Dr. Potter. And then I know that's actually a Saturday, but what you can do is you can actually expire the conversation for the day after. If that becomes an untimely message, you can expire it. This just allows you to keep a clean inbox. If you want to push it out further, you definitely can. That's perfectly up to you. Or you could set this no expiration date. Now, we do request that you do select multiple people in the chart review team. So that would be Dante and Gloria. So if you know the names over there, please do select them. For the chart review team, they will also be available. You should be able to see their titles or their department, on the back of their name. Well, we're going to be adding that so that you can see exactly who's in chart review, so you can do a multiple select. And there's a question in the room. Yes. No, you for the case order, you would only send to central scheduling. Okay. Chart review, you would want to send any questions about like, hey, the HMPs or something along those lines. Yeah, chart review will most likely contact you. You're absolutely right. Okay, so we have this start conversation. So this is where you would be like, okay, if it's Dr. Potter, we're going to do Hermione first. And then Ron, I'm spelling this wrong, Dobby. And then Hagrid, all of them. That's the order of your cases. Once you're done, you can select send down here. Send. And now we have our case order for Dr. Potter. We also have Dr. Potter's HMPs in this conversations tool. So just to illustrate where we are, I'm in this conversations option. You can navigate here at any time and see any open or finish or expired conversations. As you can see over here, you can see the last message. You can see who sent the last message and when that last message was updated. So I'm going to select my current message that I have going, and you can elaborate in here any other details. So if you're like, Harry should have been in Slytherin, you can add that, hit send, and then that is a part of the record now. Now you can hit print to print this out. If you need to walk away, you can hit finish conversation. Finish conversation will actually close any replies. So this would be beneficial if Dante replies to you and says, hey, yes, I received your cases. Everything's good to go for tomorrow. He replies like that, and you're like, okay, great, finished. Now, if you do like to organize your folders like I do, you can go to expire conversation right here. That will force expire that conversation prior to that date of expiration, but we do not get rid of it, and that is going to be down here for 60 days that you can refer to. So that is conversations. Now I'm going to go into the documents workflow. So I'm going to first demonstrate to you how you would be able to enter in documents this next week for cases that have already been scheduled through MMF. So first and foremost, we do ask you to select your physician, and then you can either enter in last name or by date of procedure. So for the documents area, we will actually search by a variety of different inputs. We will actually take a look at data from the medical passport. We will take a look at the data from Meditech that we're receiving. So if you have sent a document over to MMF for specifically your booking request to MMF and it's already in the system, you are likely to see your patient down here. So you'll likely see your patient name. And that's great because all you would have to do, ease of use, is you would select on that patient name and add the documents to their chart. Now, if for whatever reason you do not see the patient name, and I'm going to actually make this just a little bit bigger, I'm going to zoom in. There we go, so that you can see this option right here as create a new patient. If for whatever reason you are unable to see this patient name, all we ask for you to do, and you know that they are scheduled through MMF, is go to this shell registration so that you can utilize this information to attach a document group to it. So this is the bare bones, and what we do want to encourage is that in this comments area you add details like scheduled through MMF, something along those lines. Once you hit register right here, you would be able to connect those documents to that person. Okay, so I'm going to search for my test patient again. Now there's a couple workflows. When you're going back in, you're trying to add documents to your patient. So I'm going to select Wally. And then say I have my 9:30 case coming up. I have that consent already in there, but I need to add more documents. I do recommend that you only select the data procedure. So if you select the data procedure, here's that document bucket that I can easily go through and upload more documents or scan more documents. Super easy. Now, if I go back, I do have the ability to create a new document group. I'm actually going to encourage you to never really click this button. This will create another chart, in essence, for the patient for a different data procedure. So please do not select this option. Okay, there is one more workflow that I'm going to navigate back home to show you. There are 5 rejected documents. Click here to review. Chart review will actually have the ability to communicate to you about specific documents that they have issues of. This is a test site, so obviously we have some really funky test data in here. Hopefully you have more clear information coming out from the chart review team. But as you can see, we have the wrong document type, we have the wrong patient, we have a poor image quality. Those are pretty valid reasons. So if I'm going to replace this document, all I'm going to do is select this patient test over here on the blue arrow, and you can immediately see which bucket has been impacted by that rejected status. If I click into here, I can see exactly, oh, okay, it's the wrong document type. Who rejected this? When did they reject it? I can immediately see that. Now, say I have a new version of that HNP. What I can do is I can actually utilize this replace button right here if I have a scanning, or I can do it by upload. This will allow you to replace the document and immediately take away the rejected status. Now, I know specifically for New York Pioneer, you have the ability to actually just add an addendum to the document, and especially for HMPs. So you can add that addendum down here to scan it, add document by upload, to upload that addendum. And what you can do is just allow the chart review team to receive that, and the chart review team can remove that rejected status. But if you would like to remove that rejected status, you can go through and replace this document, and that will remove that for you. So I'm going to select this back button and show you just how impactful the journal can be, because this will all be detailed in the journal as well. Okay. So this shines that bright, shiny light into your documentation. There's a question in the room. Yes?
Sometimes my patient gets symptomatic appearance in some point of time, and I just, understand my orders. They pretty much take care of that. Like, I have to take. So, yes, my orders.
So I think the question is, sometimes medical clearances don't come through for your patients. Instead, right now, your workflow is that you scan in your orders. Okay. Right. So any workflow items, because I'm not particularly sure of any of that workflow, but any workflow items, I'm going to encourage you to keep that the same. So if there's any workflow items, like you're not able to get medical clearance, you're not able to do anything in particular because of like your patients are not doing something, whatever workflow that you have right now, I would encourage you to continue to do that. Okay. So I am going to select just a couple other buttons to show you around. We do have this other option right here where this will allow you to add any other staff members in your office. So you should all have access to this. If you select add, this will allow you to add the first name, last name, email, username, and you can generate a generic password for them. I do want to make sure that you mimic your own user access by saying access to passport booking. Scheduler only, no. If you say scheduler only, yes, this will not allow them into documents. Okay, I'm going to go back. And I do want to let you know that we do lock people out after 30 days of inactivity. So if you are not logging in consistently and you are locked out, we do ask if you have another person in your office, they can utilize these functions right over here to unlock you. If you do not have anyone in your office who can unlock you, you can reach out to Brian Goldstein. His email is on your training guide. Please email him. And then, of course, you can change the password for another user in your office. I do want to encourage you to utilize down here the passport booking office information. We have user guides, we have short videos. So if you ever forget on how to request a booking, you can definitely take a look at this video down here, and that will assist you with walking through that. Finally, I do want to point you to this help button. The help button will get you to the passport care team as well. Passport care team will more than likely loop me in if you have any questions. Again, I can be more than happy to assist you with technical questions. I cannot answer any workflow questions. I will need to point you back to New York Eye and Ear for any workflow questions. So there was a comment in the room about how, yeah, there was a comment in the room about, and someone is anticipating getting locked out. So she's smiling really big, and she realizes that's probably going to be a part of her workflow. Yeah. Okay. Real quick, dear, before we get into some questions, I do want to give the opportunity to those of, I know those of you who are in the room can't hear this, but I do want to give an opportunity to those who are on the phone. Are there any questions on the phone that I can address? Okay, I'm hearing a whole lot of silence. I do want to just give everyone a little bit of update as well. There is going to be a new insurance authorization form that you will want to scan in to the document buckets. That's going to be that like authorization that you get from Blue Cross Blue Shield. Just simply provide that in the document buckets. That's going to be that last field. Again, if you aren't able to get the authorization, you can give us as much information. Brian has that form that we can show you towards the end, and that's all one space. So you don't have to worry about finance doing something else versus central scheduling versus, chart review. They're all going to be on one platform now. So that's the benefit there. And then also we have, I'm trying to think of any other updates. Oh, we do have the Command Center. I just want to re-emphasize this. We have the Command Center next week. If you have any questions, please reach out. Okay. Nikhil, I do not know if you want to continue the recording at this point. We are completed with the One Medical Passport portion of the training.
So I'll stop the recording now.
Thank you. Okay. So for those of you who are on the phone,